just left Home Depot and bought myself some warped wood. So the reason why I got warped wood is they'll mark it down 70%. So I needed a 12 footer, but I bought a 16 footer where the end was messed up and it was warped. I can cut off the end, not a big deal. It gave me 70% off, which is significantly cheaper than the price of a perfectly straight 12-foot board. So a little tip to you, if you're out buying lumber since it's so expensive, if you can raise your length, cut off the part that's bad, and get yourself the piece you need and get 70% off, that's a win-win. So anyways, I'm working on the deck. It's just been so ridiculously hot. We've got a little bit of a cool weekend. When I say cool, I mean we're in like the low 90s versus the 100+ degree weather and the 115 heat index. It's just been awful. Everything's drying up. You know, our hand dug well is dry. The little pond area that's kind of dug as a test thing is dry. Garden is parched. Everything's just dry. It's just been really awful. All right, so here's the game plan. I'm out here on the deck, and the first thing I need to do is we're going to get those 2x4 that I just bought and run them along the edge here. What that's going to do, they're going to be flush with the top, and then I'll zip tape over them, and that'll create a watertight seal going out and then over that lip. The siding, whenever we get around to it, will butt up to the bottom, and that should sit inside, so as the water comes over, it will flow over the top of it and down and won't cause any problems. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, because I've already got the boards, those warped boards that I bought down there. Get those up and on there, and then get them taped, and then I'm going to switch over to getting the ceiling done. So these, if you remember, these boards, Barry stained those, well, I think it was last fall, so it's been close to a year. Maybe it was in the winter, so we're probably about 9 months of these boards have been sitting here. Hopefully they're not warped too much, because they're a real pain to get up when they're warped. I'm going to take some more of this gutter guard, which I used when I did the soffits around the ERV vents, so I would be able to have some airflow through there. This area is completely blocked off. There is no air circulation in here at all. It's a pretty big space, so I want to have some sort of air circulation in there. So along this row, I'm going to put those gutter guards, and then when I get around to do the siding, I'll put a, I think we can see it, I'll put a louver up on this end, and that should allow plenty of airflow through that space. I didn't do that in the other soffits, so most of the soffits don't have venting in them at all. I don't think they really need it. Most of your venting is for the purpose of keeping your attic cool. It's part of a heating and cooling thing, so your attic doesn't get overheated, which in turn ends up heating the house. It doesn't get too cold in there, and then have that heat loss and issues that way. But on a closed-in soffit, the only reason I can think of why you'd want it is that it doesn't, I've heard that it will degrade your shingles because it'll get too hot. I've also heard that that is not true and it doesn't matter. So at some point I'm going to go through and put some vents at the top and at the bottom. But when I did these soffits up along here, I went through my supports and drilled a hole in every single one, that little 2x6 that comes out, so that any heat that does accumulate will eventually flow up to the top. And this is actually open in here, so it will flow into this space, and then I'll eventually get some sort of venting in here somehow. But I don't think it's a huge deal. At some point I'll do that. It's probably a bigger deal on the front because that overhang is so big. It's like 6 4 8, it's 8 feet. Yeah, it's 8 feet in at the largest section. So it'd be good to get some venting up in there at some point. But for right now, I gotta have Natalie help me get this 2x4 screwed in, then I get them taped down, get the gutter guards cut, get those up, and then start working on the ceiling. Okay, we got that board screwed on there now, and then all I'm going to do is take some of my leftover zip, what was this called, liquid flashing, and just fill this seam down here, and I'll have zip tape going over the top of it. This spans a little bit farther than I would like, but I'll make it work, and that'll guarantee that no water is going to get down here and then behind the siding. So you can kind of see this pretty good now that we're going to paint this brown. My siding will tuck up underneath here. I may put a piece of flashing over that as well, or I may put a piece of flashing over the top here, but that way water will come over the top, roll down here, drip off, and fall down and not get behind this siding whenever we determine what that siding is going to be, because everything's ridiculously expensive still. And then the flooring we got, I've actually had this for a while. It's been sitting over there. Sorry, our deck's a mess. But those boxes I bought at the auction. So this is what it is. And it's actually more meant for boats more than anything. But you can use it on decks too. And it's got a backer on it which raises it up off the ground. So any water that gets below it has a way to dry out. This will just sit on the ground. It all snaps together in 12 by 12 squares. And it's going to hang off the edge just a little bit. I think I thought it would be about 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to run it through the table saw right about through here between this support and that support, and this side will just kind of hang out there, and then it'll be supported back in this section still. So it should work out pretty good, but that's going to be a project for another day. So I get this done and put the liquid flashing down, get it taped, and then move on to the upper part here, and so hopefully we can get this done this weekend. Okay, I got that liquid flashing down there in that seam just to kind of fill the void, so if any water gets behind it, it's not going to go anywhere, which it shouldn't. I'm going to put the tape over the top of it, so I'll get to here after that dries. But now moving on to getting the bug screen up there in my vent, and I've got to spray paint the rafters there, because when this is up there you're going to be able to see through it, and I don't want to see all those trusses, sorry. I don't want to see all those trusses and nails and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and grab just some spray paint and I either shoot them black or brown, whatever I can find. So I got the screen cut, but before I can put it up, I need to put a nailer along the edge here. So I found a couple 1x2 scraps I'm going to put up there, and then hopefully I'll be ready to go. Right till I turn around, there's something else that I'm missing or something else I forgot to do, but I think we're good to go now. Well, I'm ready to go here. I got the mesh up, the vent, got my nailer on, everything's painted, got some boards laid out, ready to go. But Natalie's off watering her trees, so I'm gonna have to wait till she gets back, and hopefully she can help me get at least half this up. These are 12-foot pieces, and I probably can't do that myself. Probably. I could try. I don't know. But it'd be a lot easier, especially once I get that first piece on. If I get the first piece on, I could probably get the rest of them up by myself. But the first piece doesn't nail to anything. It's just floating there. So trying to keep that off. Maybe I could do it. think I can do it. I'm going to give it a shot. So if I get it tacked in the center, and the size should be fine, I can pick it up, slide it all over to the wall, then use my level as a spacer, tack it in the center, and then I can work my way out. Once I get it tacked in the center, it should hold it up okay for me to go move down. I can get at least three trusses nailed in there. So we'll give that a shot. Well, I determined very quickly that I cannot do this by myself. And I asked Natalie and said she's done for the day. So she had the farmer's market this morning, and then she's been out watering trees in the heat. And I can't get this up myself. Getting into the groove, I tried in the center again, but then you can't get either side. And you really got to start on one end and work your way down. Being 12-foot boards, I got to have someone on one side holding it while I'm not positioning and nailing on the other side. So I'm not going to get done today. We'll probably try and tackle it tomorrow in the heat. It's nice now because the sun's on the other side of the house, so we're nice and shaded in here. But about probably 11 o'clock or so, noon tomorrow, this will be all shaded again, so we can knock it out then, I hope. So I just got done watching another YouTuber that we like watching, and him and his wife work on their house, and they're having fun. It looks like a good time, and I'm looking at this going, do we really have to go outside and work?
Are you recording me or you?
I'm recording you now.
Oh.
Because it's hot.
It's hot outside.
Go back inside where it's nice and cool.
I know.
And watch YouTube all day.
I haven't been. I've been working on 4-H projects with the girls.
I've been working too. I was out spraying weeds. I went and sprayed all the fence line this morning. I went down the road, did around the mailbox, did all sorts of stuff. It's hot. I got all sweaty, and then I was waiting on Natalie to get done, so I was sitting inside watching YouTube and got all cool and comfortable. And you kicked me back outside to work.
Totally my fault. And we only have like 2 hours left because we have
a meeting to go to.
Yeah, we have a 4-H meeting to go to. So, but tomorrow is going to be even hotter, so we're going to get as much done as we can.
Yeah, it just keeps getting hotter. It's just horrible.
I know. I've never seen this before. On our weather, we use, what is it, weather bug or whatever.
Weather bug, yeah.
They have an actual sun with a cactus on it. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I've never seen that before, so it's going to be extra hot.
Extra hot and toasty.
Yes. All right, let's get going on this.
If possible, my goal is at least to get up to the light fixture. So that's probably about, 12 panels. Or 12 piece, I don't know what you call those. Hopefully it'll go smooth. Well, we've gotten this far past the hard part, which was that light, and everything else is just pretty much smooth sailing. So now he's going to grab some water, and then we're going to get a few more pieces up before we have to go to our 4-H thing. We try to go on a walk every night, and tonight we're reminded just how dry it's been. Eventually I'll have a pond here. I just really hope it will stay full. So we weren't supposed to get any rain this morning, but I'm glad we are because the water tanks are getting low and it's been ridiculously hot. Because it's so hot, Natalie's sister's in town and staying over with her boyfriend, and I decided to let the AC run a little longer than usual. Usually we shut off about 9:30, and it was a little warm. It's been really hot, so the eating's a little bit warmer. So I turned it on in the middle of the night because I was hot, and I thought I turned it off and I didn't. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, all the alarms went off, and the whole system shut down because I had drained our batteries too far. So, oops. So I got up, ran the generator for a few hours, and we're back up to about 70% now. And then I turned it off and covered the generator because of the rain. But boy, we really needed this because it was getting quite parched out. And I think we were down to about 1,500, around 1,500 gallons of water. Then of course 400 of that isn't usable. It's in the bottom of the tank, so really we're down to about 1,000 gallons. And I'll get ready to run into town and grab a load of water, but it keeps raining like this for a good hour, and it'll put a lot of water in the tanks for sure. Don't you kids know it's raining? I have to take care of the animals, or to set up the water collection barrels down there because we didn't think it was going to rain again, so we just had the barrels laying on their sides and stuff like that. And Natalie filled one up and was using it to water her trees the last couple of days. She's just laying there, so they had to run down and get them propped up and against the roof line. So you're the smart one and wore a rain jacket, huh? What? So you're the smart one and wore a rain jacket, huh? Okay. Unfortunately, the rain was short-lived. Soon the sun came out, the heat was on, and it was back to work. Well, it's got this little 48-inch fan I bought at Home Depot the other day. I was afraid it was going to hang down too low. I suppose if you throw your hands up in the air, you're going to get whacked by it. It is a bit lower than I wanted, but it was cheap. So of course, being cheap, it's got a bit of wobble too. We put cheap fans in the bedrooms and stuff too, and they've got a little bit of a noise, more noise than I wanted to, but of course you get used to it, so it's not a big deal. But you can see the wobble here. It's just wobbling like crazy. So that's on high speed, and it's pushing a little bit of air underneath it. A little bit. I wish there was a little bit more air going through it, but not a big deal. So we measured right, it's just that there's the extra tongue on there, you know? Yeah, we didn't measure that, so it's hidden there.
We.
Yes, we. This is a we thing. Okay, finally got the roof done. It wasn't too bad. There were a few boards that were really warped. Had to really try and crank on to get them straight. So it turned out pretty good. Check this one off the list. We're slowly checking things off the list. But once you move into a house and you're in here, it's 10 times harder to actually do any work. And it just takes, it's just tough because you it's just tough. If anyone who's ever built a house before and lived in it while they're building it knows that things are much harder and take much longer when you're living in it and trying to work on it. But we'll get there.